my name is Karle Roberts, and I'm the Family Engagement Coordinator here at Compass Charter Schools. I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch our recording that we feel is a very valuable resource. I would also like to thank our talented guest presenter, Mandy Schwartzberg, who's one of our amazing counselors, who has taken the time out of her busy schedule to help with this presentation. Today we are going to share with you some ideas and resources to help you provide more support to your scholars' learning. So before we begin, I'd like to take a quick second to remind you that at Compass Charter Schools we have 5 core values. They are achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication. These serve as our guiding principles for our scholars, learning coaches, and staff. Each month this year, we've been recognizing one of our core values, starting with achievement and moving all the way through to communication, as we know the importance of our core values and we want them to remain in the forefront of our minds. I'm so glad to have you joining us as we continue to dig deeper into the role of the learning coach with Mrs. Schwartzberg. Mrs. Schwartzberg will be covering learning styles, tips for each type of learner, tips for the gifted learner, and homework tips for all learners with some amazing graphic organizers that you can download from the link in the description of this video. I will now hand it over to Mrs. Schwartzberg.
Thank you, Karle. So what is a learning style? A learning style is the best way in which a scholar learns. There are 3 types of learning styles: the visual learner, the auditory learner, and the tactile kinesthetic learner. All scholars learn differently, and it is important to assess the best way your scholar learns. Oftentimes, a scholar will have multiple ways in which they like to learn, and that is also important to take note. There's an easy at-home learning styles assessment that you can download from the link in the description of this video. This is how the Learning Styles Assessment looks, which is part of our resources associated with the Coach's Corner. After watching through this video, we recommend that you spend 10 to 15 minutes filling out the assessment with your scholar to see how they learn best. So what characterizes a visual learner? A visual learner typically learns through seeing, such as reading and observing, scans everything. They want to see everything. They enjoy pictures, maps, diagrams, colors. They enjoy color coding. A visual learner typically likes to read facial expressions and body language for full understanding. So you may notice that your scholar has great eye contact when they're trying to learn. A visual learner typically daydreams as well, and that helps their understanding of material. And they take detailed notes as part of understanding. Some tips for the visual learner include using colors to highlight text. Visual learners use different multimedia, such as videos, for part of understanding. They like to make charts and graphs and put tables on their notes. It's highly recommended to use a graphic organizer, which you can check out in the resources as well. Visual learners like to write information over and over while memorizing. They also work best in a quiet place, so no audio distractions such as music or loud noise. Visual learners participate in learning labs and Q&As because it keeps them from daydreaming. Now, an auditory learner typically learns through listening or talking things through. They prefer distractions given orally. An auditory learner interprets information by listening to the tone of voice, speech, and pitch. An auditory learner does not take notes typically because they can pay best attention when they're just hearing information. They prefer lectures over reading, and they like to repeat back what has just been said for understanding. So then some tips for the auditory learner that learning coaches can utilize include recommending that their scholars speak up in learning labs and Q&As because it helps the information sink in. They can read information out loud and repeat out loud over and over for memorizing if that is something they need to do. Learning coaches can encourage the auditory learner to discuss ideas and facts verbally to theirself or with the learning coach, and also to create musical jingles or mnemonics while studying. On to the tactile kinesthetic learner. These learners typically learn through moving, doing, or manipulating objects. They like to count on their fingers. They typically doodle while they're listening in order to keep their attention. Typically good at sports, mechanics, or using tools. They tend to be adventurous. They find it hard to sit still. And they get distracted because they like to go explore. So when you're working with your tactile kinesthetic learner, it's a good idea to take frequent breaks. Use a highlighter when reading, not necessarily just for the color coding portion of it, but because it's a doing while reading, it's a motion that will help keep them busy. It's a good idea to play music in the background or work in a noisy environment. One idea is to sit on a yoga ball while working. Or to read while doing. And you can have them squeeze a stress ball or, if possible, be on a treadmill while working. These tactile kinesthetic learners like to skim through the first part of reading and get to the main idea and then go back for details. And definitely have the tactile kinesthetic learner have somebody proofread work, as mistakes can be made while we are doing and working at the same time. I'd also like to mention the gifted learner, even though the gifted learner is not part of our 3 learning styles. Although the gifted learner is not part of those 3 learning styles, the gifted scholar deserves some attention here too. Gifted scholars tend to get bored quickly because they learn quickly. They love to learn, so when they don't feel challenged, it can be distressing. If you feel your scholar is getting bored, it may be because the material is too easy. Consider trips to the bookstore, the library, or even out in nature. You can get more materials for more opportunities with favorite subjects that way. Encourage your scholar to attend their class Q&As with teachers in order to ask more questions or to get suggestions from them for further reading and exploration as well. I'd also like to leave you off with some tips for all learners, so all learning styles mentioned before, including our gifted learners. So all learners need a workspace they enjoy learning in, and you have to keep it consistent. All learners benefit from an established routine, including breaks in their day. All learners can benefit from guidelines and rules, such as no TV, no phone, until X, Y, and Z is finished. All learners can benefit from a timer so that they can visually see how much more time they have left to be working. And all learners need supplies to work well. Keep it well stocked with essentials, such as a working laptop with reliable internet, paper for notes, a calendar, pens, pencils, highlighters, calculators, folders for organization, and the list can go on and on. Lastly, please consider using graphic organizers while working with your scholar. Though at first this may seem most appropriate for the visual learner, it's extremely helpful for all learners. Due to the timing for our Quick Coaches Corner video, we want to share just 3 favorites that may be just what you've been looking for. Please note, all 3 organizers, plus the learning styles assessment mentioned above, will be available in the description of this video. Consider using a graph such as this for tracking quotations, facts, or for important information as your scholar reads. It can be useful for when a scholar needs to write a paper, remember themes, as well as for test and quiz preparation. The next graphic organizer that you may find useful is the Raft Planner, which prompts a scholar to identify a role, their audience, their format, and their topic ahead of planning a written response. And lastly, the Sandwich Planner. If your scholar struggles with writing essays, consider this. It guides your scholar to writing a logical, planned and complete essay. Details and conclusions included. Now that we've discussed all learning styles and provided a few tools, we want to leave you with some ideas to think about. The first question you can ask yourself as a learning coach is, do you recognize the visual, auditory, and tactile kinesthetic learning qualities in your scholar? What learning style do you feel most comfortable working with? And how can you teach toward that style? And the last idea to think about is, are there resources you have personally used and love? Post them to the comments of this video. We would love to know more about it. Thank you so much for your time, and I will be passing it back to Karle. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mandy. So if you have any questions or possibly even a topic suggestion after watching this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me at kroberts@compasscharters.org, and I will answer them or forward them along to the appropriate person who can. Now, of course, if you do have any topic suggestions that you would like to see covered in our Coaches Corner, you can email that to me as well. And I'll also be posting a survey link in the description of this video that you could post to there too. Thank you so much again for watching this short presentation, and don't forget to check the link in the description of this video for all of those amazing resources that we covered today. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.